Hey everyone, welcome back to some Blood Crest Manor content. Today I'm going to be taking this old White Walker mask from Game of Thrones and turning him into Grandpa Blood. Part of the storyline in BCM is going to involve this man here. Now I haven't released the story yet to Blood Crest Manor. I'm still in the process of getting it all wrote and decided on. But this will be one of the main characters for sure in the haunt. At the beginning of the hunt, you're going to walk in and there's going to be a casket, and inside that casket is going to be Grandpa Blood, this guy right here. Now to do that and accomplish that, I'm wanting to be making a dummy. But how I make that dummy to me is a little bit interesting. So I got this here mask. Now I'd like him to be more flesh tone, but if I put an acrylic paint on top of this and try to put it on or try to put it onto a dummy of any sort, it'll start cracking and breaking apart because the acrylic isn't going to stay on a surface like this while it's being stretched. It's just not the paint for that. Now I could go through the process of making a latex mask paint, which there's a few steps involved in that. I did some research and it seemed like a lot of investment for just one little skin tone that I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this mask onto my dummy, or as you guys know it, as the Home Depot skeletons, the little red LED light ones, you know, that one. We're going to go ahead and put this mask on this head, and once I do that, I'm going to foam it in. Once I've foamed it in, it's going to put this mask and adhere it to this head, and it will never come off again. And it will never need to be stretched again. So it won't matter that it's acrylic on this mask. So that's the plan for now. As far as the rest of them goes, I have some plans in order to flesh them out and to give them a good suit. And also to hide these eyes. As you can tell, they're very blatantly blue. So we're going to be doing a lot to hide that and the blue skin tone. But other than that, guys, I'm real excited to bring you guys along with me for this, and I'll be talking to you back here in just a moment. Alright everyone, so we're going to go ahead and get started by filling up this mask with some foam. Now before you fill it up with foam, you're going to want to cover up all the openings in the mask. You can use masking tape, painter's tape, whatever you have available. You just want to make sure that you're getting all those holes taped up. Don't forget the ears or anything like that. You want all the foam to push out the bottom of the mask. You don't want it to inflate the mask and make it look really bulgy. So you want to use just a little bit of foam. It does not take a lot to do this. In my opinion, throw you a little bit in at the top of the mask before you put it on the head. And once you've done that, then you can come in, and I mean just a little bit. And then come in and then start spraying it just very gently and easily. I'd probably go ahead and recommend using 1-inch gap foam. I think that would do a lot better than the 3-inch that I have, and you're about to see why. Alright everybody, so I did the foam and I came back and looked at it the first day and I was like, wow, that looks really good. I even noticed how there was some voids in the face to where you could push it down real easily. And it was looking great. I was very happy with it. I was actually shocked at how well it went. Then it had time to cure a second day. And all of that foam that I thought would just come out the bottom into the rib cage actually ended up just expanding on the head. And now this is one solid, hard foam piece. It is incredibly dense. So, as you can tell, he is no longer the slender-faced man that he was. Now he looks like he walked through a field of baseball bats and bumblebees. He got jacked up. So here's the plan. I'm going to cut out all this excess around the head, and then I'm going to try to take heat to it. And the idea is that foam, once it's heated, it shrinks because the air bubbles inside it collapses. Now the plan here is to hit this with heat and shrink it from the outside in, and hopefully he will go back to looking somewhat like he used to look. the other plan to this is to gouge out some of the foam from underneath and then hit it with heat. If you're going to do this, it might work better with small gap foam or a different foam entirely. Could this type of foam work? Maybe in the right amount, but this obviously was not the right amount, and I thought that it would just naturally force the excess out, and it did not. So I would say if you're going to use the thick gap foam like I use, just use a little bit, just a little bit, because it is going to expand, and it will expand a lot up here. So without further ado, everyone, let's go ahead and see if we can't get Old Man Blood here looking a little bit better. Alright everyone, so I attempted to use heat on a little sample piece of foam that I had from this that just kind of fell out before it ever was in the mask. And the heat gun did not do anything to it. So this kind of foam is not something that you can warp or mess with heat. In which also it literally didn't lose any size. So in this case, the only thing I could do was to take this little spade-esque tool that I have and use it to warp the mask and use it to dig out as much foam as I possibly could. So I ended up having to cut through the mask in the mouth, and this allowed me to stick it into through the top of the head. And then I was able to mash in a lot of this and take away a lot of that bulginess. So now that the bulginess and the issues with that is all over with, and I was able to mash it down with my hands, now it's time to do some dry brushing. If this is your first time ever seeing me dry brush, basically you just take a paintbrush, put just a little bit of paint on it, and then paint it out as good as you can onto like some sort of paper. And then while the brush has just barely got any moisture to it, you just rub it against the surface that you're trying to paint. In this case, it'll leave all the wrinkles that darker color that they are, and it will color the top surface, which is blue, now more of a skin tone. I decided not to go in with a base color of red, just to make sure that the skin looked really mummified and pale. Now I have these two little coins that I got from an arcade a while back, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint them gold so that way we can get the eyes on this guy covered up real well. Alright, now that the acrylic paint has dried, we want to use a acrylic coating. This is just a clear coat, and in this case I'm using a satin. It'll just have like a small sheen to it, and this is just going to help with any type of cracking in the future of the acrylic paint. And now that we have the coins all dried, we're going to use a hot glue gun, and we're going to glue these coins to the bottom of the eye and the top of the eye socket. And so that way they won't move. This is going to help me create the illusion of his eyes are closed and these are like your old school pay the riverman coins. Now here comes a part that was a little bit tough for me. I'm not very good at sewing. And so the first thing I wanted to do was take one of these hooks and try to make it curved so that way I could use it like a medical sewing needle. But unfortunately I snapped the needle. So I have to restart. My second attempt, I go to do this, and unfortunately eventually the string breaks on me as I'm pulling it through, in which once again this is my fault. I should have doubled up the string knowing just how tight this was. Like I said, I'm not really much on sewing. It's not something I do much of, and the only reason I'm doing this is because the mouth looked really kind of messed up after I had to dig around it from the phone. So I needed something to kind of cover it up. So here is the final and the proper attempt where I doubled up the string, doubled up my knots, and used a pretty thick gauge needle, and it was able to go through the mask and sew up the mouth relatively well. So first thing I do is I'm just kind of going through with a small bead to actually get the mask together, and then I'm coming through with some longer strands to kind of exaggerate what's going on here. face is complete, and it's time to go ahead and get this dummy over to where he'll be living. Alright, so now that we have our mask completed, now we just need to work on the body of this guy. So I can't really put him in a suit with just the bones as he is, because if I do that, then he's going to just kind of sag in the suit. So what I do here is I have some pool noodles. This one came from a yard sale, in fact, that I got for free. And I'm just kind of hot gluing in some shoulders. I'm just cutting down the middle of the noodle so that way it'll slip right in over the bone. And I'm doing 2 thick ones on the top. And then 2 smaller ones for the forearm. And now that he is done up, I'm going to go ahead and get him dressed. Unfortunately, I thought I had another shirt, but this is the best shirt I have for him at the moment. Might be coming in later with a different shirt, but we'll see. He kind of looks pretty strong now that he is what he is. But so I'm going to go ahead and get his shirt on, I'm going to get his pants on, I'm going to get his jacket on. And just like at animatronic, if you've seen any of my videos for that, and if you haven't, go check it out. This is just the getting them dressed up stage. So nothing really special here. I got all these clothes from like a yard sale for like a grand total of like $3. The jacket was $1, the pants was $1, and the shirt was $1. So it's very much cheap and affordable.
Alright everyone, so that's going to be it for this one. That will be all for the Grandpa Blood dummy. Now this is my first attempt ever doing something like this, and I gotta say I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really love how this guy went from Nightwalker to obviously an old man in a casket. Really different feel. It really feels nice to repurpose something like that. I got the mask for $7 from a yard sale. I already had these coins. And the suit itself was like, each piece was $1 at a yard sale. The skeleton was $25. So that was all the cost for the dummy itself. The casket was $200, but that piece couldn't really be avoided. Like I said when I built this, I really wanted to find a real casket, but this really works out because of that clip where he can be clipped into the back. So this guy's going to be a vital part of the hunt when it starts. He'll be right here in the foyer, and he'll be one of the first things all the guests see as they come through the door. He is an amazing prop, and I think he'll be part of the hunt for a very long time until I can get something better to replace him, or until he decides not to hold up anymore. Let me know in the comments what you think about him and what I could have done different. I can already tell you that I'm going to probably come in, throw a little stuffing in him, but for now, for the purpose of this video, I think this looks just fine. But so anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, I'll be talking to you then. Woo!